everybody. I want to welcome y'all to today's Shabbat lesson. No, you can say whatever you want. You can say okay if you want to. Welcome you all to today's Shabbat lesson. So we're going to do our lesson today. Basically a story on Goliath, and then we're going to have a little interactive piece at the end. So prior to us starting, the title of the lesson is "Your Problems May Seem Big, but you are more equipped for your problems than your problems are equipped for you." So that's the title of the lesson. We're going to start off opening up in prayer. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready, fam? All right. You praying, Alana? That's what you do? Y'all, we come to you this morning. Thank you for this afternoon. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this ability to be able to just rest our bodies, to be able to just rest our minds, and to be able to focus in on you today, Abiyah. We thank you for this opportunity to be able to even observe your ways that you've given us and allow us to walk upright with you, Abiyah. We thank you for allowing us to make it through another week and be able to conquer the problems of which came against us this week that just passed. We ask that as we move forward, that you give us the wisdom, the knowledge, the strength, and the courage to be able to overcome the next set of problems that you have for us this week coming up, Abiyah. We thank you for all the power that you've given us. We thank you for all the resources that you've given us. We thank you for everything that you've poured into our lives, and we thank you for those around us that you've given us to be able to help us navigate through this thing we call life. We thank you for everything. We thank you for the breath in our lungs. We thank you for the toes on our feet. We thank you for the fingers on our hands. We thank you for the ability to move our arms. We give you all the praise, all the honor, all the glory to be able to see, hear, speak, talk, all the things that we don't necessarily think about. We give you all the praise, honor for those things, and we give you praise for giving us a sound mind. I'll continue to move us forward and continue to elevate us and give us opportunity to be the highest versions of ourselves. By Hashem HaMashiach, by Hashem Ruach Kodesh, hallelujah, salam. All right, so we're going to be reading from the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17 today. So the lesson, as I stated earlier, is on your problems may seem big, but you are more equipped for your problems than your problems are equipped for you. The story of King David, as we know, King David was one of the kings in the nation of Israel. He was one of the greatest kings in the nation of Israel in Scripture. So we're going to go right into 1 Samuel chapter 17, starting at verse 1. Go ahead and read for me. And when you read, when you get to the verse, then you call it the verse 2, so that one will you up.
1 Samuel 17, verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered their armies for battle, and they were gathered at Soko, which belonged to Judah, and encamped between Soko and Ezekah and Ephes-Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered and encamped in the valley of Elah, and drew up in a line of battle against the Philistines. 3. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on the side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side with the valley between them. And there came out from the camp of the Philistines a champion named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span.
Now, real quick, backdrop about Goliath. A lot of us have heard the story of Goliath. The measurements, when it comes to Goliath, it says he was 6 cubits in the span. A cubit in ancient Israel was equivalent to 18 inches. A span is equivalent to 9 inches. So we do 18 times, it said 6. But now some older scripture says that he was actually 4 cubits, not 6 cubits. So if you would do the measurements of what it says in our modern text, he was 9 feet tall, 9 inches. If you do the measurements based off of the old text, he was 6 feet 9 inches. Either way it go, Goliath was a huge mammoth of an individual. He was not a small person. He was not the average size individual. He was a huge warrior, a huge fighter, and much larger than everyone else. All right.
Verse 5. He had a helmet of bronze on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze.
Now, real quick, just to let you know, how strong he was, his armor. Now we know, and some of us like Demel, who used to be in the military, you know that when it comes to your battle gear, you want to make sure you have the lightest battle gear because you want to be able to move. Am I right, Demel? Thumbs up if I'm right. You want to be able to move. Now, his armor that he had on was how many shekels?
5,000.
5,000 shekels equals to 11 pounds of armor. He had 11 pounds of armor on him. So some people might be like, oh, well, that's going to weigh him down. That just goes to show you exactly how big and how strong he was, that his armor, just his chest plate, weighed 11 pounds.
And he had bronze armor on his legs and a javelin of bronze slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And his shield bearer went before him. 8. He stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, why have you come out to draw up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul?
Hold on 1 second. Go back and read 7 again for me.
The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And his shield bearer went before him.
Boom, right there. Okay. This right here is very important. His shield bearer went before him. Now, we're looking at Goliath. We're looking at Goliath. Goliath is the problem that is your life. Whatever you may be going through, whatever situation you're in, whatever it is that you're battling against, whatever obstacle you're having at that time, whatever's going on, Goliath is that mammoth problem in your life that you feel like you can't get over. Or you feel, I'm sorry, not that you can't get over, I'll take that back. That is coming up against you. But I need y'all to understand something. It said his what went before him? His shield bearer went before him. So right here, this goes to show you right here, we break down the word. First off, the 2 words are very important. So it says one bearing in the King James, which was the shield bearer. The shield bearer in Hebrew was 85375, is NASA, and it means to lift up or to exalt. The second word, which is important here, is shield. Now the root for shield is sin, which is thorn, or to be dubious. So basically, in order for your problem to even get to you, it has to be lifted up to you. Your problem has to be lifted up to you. That was the importance of the shield bearer right there. The shield bearer came out, had to assist Goliath. So when your problem comes to you, it's always from some sort of assistance. It has to have assistance in order to get to you. Keep going.
Choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us.
Now, very important. Not only does it take for your problem to have a fighting chance against you, not only does it take the problem being exalted and lifted up to you, you also have to go down to the problem. What did Goliath say? Send one of your fighters down here to me. Now you're going to have situations, things that happen in life, but in order for you to even get into a tussle or a battle, that thing has to be lifted up to you, and you have to go down to it. So that's very important to understand. Like, in order to be able to defeat something, you have to be strategic about it. So if you're having an issue, you don't just go down into the valley with the fight the problem. You have to be strategic. Keep going. Let me know when you get to verse 16. Mm-hmm.
And the Philistine said, I defy the ranks of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all of Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. 12. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite of Bethlehem in Judah named Jesse, who had 8 sons. In the days of Saul, the man who was already old and advanced in years. The 3 oldest sons of Jesse have followed Saul to the battle, and the name.
All right. So now we're introducing David to the mix. Babe, give me one fact about David real quick. There's one fact about him before he became a king. So David became a king at what age?
I don't know, 16.
16. David became a king at 16. So that means David was still basically a child at this time. David was a child. Ramirez, how old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
15.
David was your age. King David was your age. So right now, let's put this in the context. Everything that's about to go on, let's imagine this is Ramirez. That's literally what we're going to do. We're going to imagine this is all Ramirez because that is the age in which David did this, what he's about to do and he's about to accomplish. All right.
And the names of his 3 sons who went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and next to him was Abinadab, and the third was Shammah. 14. David was the youngest. The 3 eldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. 16. For 40 days the Philistines came forward and took his stand morning and evening. And Jesse said to his son, take for your brother an ephah of this parched grain and these 10 loaves and carry them quickly to the camp to your brothers.
And what verse is that?
From the 18.
Okay. All right, skip down to 24. So right now we got the backdrop. There's a war going on. Goliath is this huge behemoth of a man who is the prime fighter of the Philistines. The Israelites are afraid to fight against him. David's brothers, 3 oldest brothers are out there fighting. David's 3 oldest brothers are out there fighting. So we got all of these things going on. David is a child, so we know all of this is going on right now. All right, skip down to 24.
24. All the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were much afraid. And the man of Israel said, have you seen this man who has come up? Surely he has come up to defy Israel. And the king will enrich the man who kills him with great riches and will give him his daughter and make his house free in Israel. 26. And David said to the men who stood by him, what shall be done for the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living Elohim?
Boom, right there. This is where we get started at. So first thing we have to realize, you have a giant, huge problem, situation, circumstance, test, whatever it is. On the other side of that is your reward and your abundance. You defeat the giant, you receive your reward and your abundance. So when David asks, oh wait, hold on, what does the person what do the person who defeats Goliath get? They said you will get freedom in Israel, you will get the daughter of Saul, you will get all of these riches. Whenever you defeat your biggest problem, on the other side of that is your freedom. So you have to make sure that when it's time to go, you keep that in the forefront. I overcome this, what I want is on the other side. I overcome this, what I want is on the other side. That's the first thing. The second thing is, David said, what did David say? David said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he feels like he can approach a soldier of Yah? Who does he think he is? You know what it reminded me of? This is how David was looking at that. This is how David was looking at the Philistine. Like, who does he? Where y'all, hold on, where y'all at? Y'all see that meme right there? This how he was looking at, like, that's how you gotta look at your problem. Like, who you think you is? Who are you to me that you feel like you can even step to me? When he said, what it said right there, verse 26, let me pull it up real quick. You got your Bible open, Ramirez? Okay, verse 26. Yeah, Ramirez, read verse 26 real quick. What are we on? 1 Samuel 17.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
It says what you want, the whole thing or the second half of it?
Second half of it.
Says, for who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living Elohim?
Perfect, man. It's like, who do you think you are? Like, you approaching me like, do you know who I am? Do you know who my creator is? Do you know what I am made of? When your problem comes to you, it's like, yo, who do you think you are? Like, I am made in the likeness and the image of the creator. And he dwells inside of me on top of that. Who the hell you think you is that you can just come step to me like you're gonna defeat me? No, I got something for you. That's how you got to attack every single problem. Like literally get at LeBron, look like who do you think you are? Simple as that. Keep reading, Dave. Who do you think you are?
27. And the people answered him in the same way. So shall it be done to the man who kills him. 28. Now Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, why have you come down? And to whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your presumption and the evil of your heart, for you have come down to see the battle.
Right. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? David came down. David like, who is this? And it's always somebody closest to you. Most times, not all, but a lot of times it's always somebody closest to you that's a hater. They mad because they're afraid to face their biggest fears. So they want you to be afraid of your fears, and because you're not afraid of your fears, they get mad at you. What type of sense is that? And then on top of that, did y'all see the little game he tried to play? David came down with confidence, and he's gonna try to make that confidence seem like it was something bad. You just wanted to come down here and see the battle. No, David had confidence. David was like, man, y'all afraid. What are y'all afraid of? We served y'all, but y'all scared. His brother, because his brother was afraid and knew he couldn't win, he wanted to try to turn David's confidence into something negative. You got to be careful of that. Somebody take your confidence that you have and try to, what do they like to say now in nowadays society? Oh, you cocky. Oh, you arrogant. No, I am confident in my skills and my abilities. That don't make me feel like I think I'm better than anybody. I just know I can overcome anything that comes at me. That don't make me arrogant. That don't make me cocky. That makes me confident in my skills and my abilities that the Most High who dwells within me gave me. That's his confidence coming out. So am I not allowed to exude the confidence of the Creator who's inside of me, who created me in His likeness and His image? Don't get mad at me because you don't embrace your power and I do. So what did he say? Keep going. So David, right after that, what happened?
And David said, what have I done now? Was it not but a word? And he turned away from him toward another and spoke in the same way, and the people answered him again as before.
So right there, boom. So did David say, oh man, my brother don't believe in me, so I can't do it? Nah, David just went and told somebody who would believe him, and they told the word out because they believed in him. So no matter what it is, when you got that problem that's coming up or a situation comes up and it seems like it's too large, tell the people who will be there to support you. Don't worry about the words of those that are not there to support you, because the ones that are there to support you will give you the strength, encouragement, and power to get through what you need to get through. Those that are not, oh well, bump them. They want you to be, misery loves company. They want you to be down. They want you to be miserable. They want you to be scared because they're afraid. They want you to be where they're at. Don't be where they at. Fight and keep going and overcome it. Let's go back. You want next verse?
31. When the words that David spoke were heard, they repeated them before Saul, and he sent for him. 32. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, when you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight him, for you are but a youth.
Right, stop right there. This might be the most important piece on this entire chapter. He said, read that one more time, baby. He said what?
He said, let no man's, wait a minute. You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth.
Boom. Don't let someone put their limitations on you. King Saul's trying to put a limitation on David. King Saul said, you are the child. What does that mean? If I have the abilities to do whatever the task is, I'm going to be able to do it. So when someone comes, you say, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, tell them to get around you. Don't put your limitations on me. I do not need your limitations because I am literally limitless. There's nothing that can stop me. There's nothing that can overcome me. I have the creator's power within me, and I'm made in his image and his likeness, so I have a bit of his power. I have no limits. I am limitless. Don't put your limitations on me. Keep going, babe.
And he has been a man of war from his youth. But David said to Saul, your servants used to keep sheep for his father, and when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb from the flock, I went after him and struck him and delivered him out of his mouth. And if he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant has struck down both lions and bears, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them.
Boom. Right there. We come against situations and we come in battles and we have things that happen to us. Steve, am I right? Have things that happen to us. But we don't realize that we are already more prepared for a situation than we think we are. One. Two, oftentimes when a situation comes up, we have the training that we already need for the situation. The training is already there. Now, here's the crazy thing. The training may not look like what the circumstance is, but the principalities of the training or the principles of the training are still there. So David had never been in a war with another man before, correct? He never been in a war with another man, am I correct? However, he did what? He fought off lions and bears. Now, if I can beat a lion, if I can kill a lion and a bear with my bare hands, how many men are stopping me? How many men are stopping me? Not many men are stopping me. Melanie, you said it right. Not many men are stopping me if I can beat a lion and a bear. So now, here's the crazy thing, y'all. Not only did he just fight a lion and a bear, remember they said he was watching over his sheep. They took the lion and the bear took the sheep, which goes to show you that the lion and the bear was what? Hungry. So you went and you took the food out of the mouth of a lion and a bear for a hungry, not just a normal, oh, you call them sleeping on the Sahara lion, oh, you call them climbing a tree bear. No, a hungry lion or a bear. You went, fought the lion and the bear that was hungry and took the sheep back. So that goes to show you how even more prepared David was for the battle in which he was going against. He literally fought and killed a hungry lion and a hungry bear. There's nothing that anyone else could be able to do to him.
Hey.
There's nothing at all. What's up?
No, just to add to that, you can see the motive. He has a motivation as well. It's one of his sheep, and his motivation is driving his desire to go get that sheep back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And also another thing that this touches on, which is extremely important, is faith. But the faith that this touches on is not blind faith. The faith that this touches on is concrete faith. Why did David know that he was going to defeat Goliath? Why? He just said it. Why did he know he was going to beat the Goliath?
He had already been in a situation where he faced something bigger than him and he was able to defeat it.
Exactly. He already knew he was going to win because when he was in that first situation before, he won before. That is what faith is based off of. Faith is knowing that you've been through something, you got through it, and you're going to get through it again. Ain't no need to even think about it. Ain't no need to even wonder about it. Ain't no need to even be concerned. No, I'm sorry, not concerned, but to have anxiety. Y'all already got me through before. Like, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, this situation is giant and huge and humongous. I'm a child. I'm small. This problem is 9 feet tall, almost 10 feet tall, almost 7 feet tall. But I already know I'm going to defeat this problem because I fought hungry lions and bears and defeated them. Simple. So you've been through situations before, you won. So you already know you're going to get through your next situation. You've been through situations before, you won. You already know you're going to get through your next situation. You've been through situations before, you won. You already know you're going to get through your next situation. You had to make it through birth, little baby. Do you know that's one of the hardest things to do? You made it through the birth canal. You were strong enough to make it out, understand how to take your first breath, allow your hormones to kick in, and cause yourself to live. You did one of the most difficult things you can ever do as a human. You made it through, so everything else you come through, you're going to be able to overcome. Simple as that. We are all able to overcome everything that we come through because we've already overcome other things that's just like it. So that's why you have to change the scope of how you look at something. David didn't say, oh, I've never fought a man before, I'm going to lose. He said, well, hold on. I fought before and I won. So if I fight again, I'm going to win. Simple as that. Babe, let's go. Next verse. Y'all with me over here? Y'all with me? Y'all good?
Yeah, we good. We're at the end of verse 36.
Yes, sir.
For he defies the armies of the living Elohim. And David said, Yah who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, go and Yah be with you. Then Saul clothed David with his armor. He put a helmet of bronze on his head and clothed him with a coat of mail. And David strapped his sword over his armor. And he tried in vain to go, for he had not tested them. Then David said to Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not tested them. So David put them off. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones from the brook and put them in his shepherd's pouch, for his sling was in his hand, and he approached the Philistine.
Boom. Do y'all see that? So you're about to go to a battle. You're going up against a problem. You got a situation. You are going to win the battle when you enter the battle as your authentic self. David didn't try to put on this big, clunky fighter's gear. David said, I don't need that. If I'm going to go battle, I'm going to battle in what makes me comfortable. I don't need a sword. I don't need armor. I don't need a headgear. It's too heavy. It's weighing me down. I can't even walk. No, what did he do? He got his sling. He got his rocks. What else did he say he had? And he had his staff. So he showed, so you got, as we read earlier, Goliath had what? How much did his armor weigh? Which was, he had on his armor, he had his javelin, his spear, he had his huge helmet. He's either 9 feet tall or 7 feet tall, whichever one we want to go to. He's this huge behemoth of a man with his uniform of iron and brass on. And David shows up with a slingshot and a staff. But the important part is David was not underprepared. David was in his most authentic self. So a lot of times people gonna look at you like, oh, that's how you gonna do with you? I am my most authentic self right now. So this is how I'm gonna take care of my situation. Like some people are gonna give you, now, yes, listening to sound counsel is wonderful and great. You need it. But sometimes you gotta know, okay, this is me, and this is how I'm going to get through what I need to get through. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not gonna do what you need, what you think I should do. Because what you think I should do is going to weigh me down. Saul said, put this armor on. David said, I can't put that armor on. It's going to weigh me down. You're going to lose. No, I'm not, because I'm going to go in as my authentic self. David used his mind. David used his mind. He wasn't thinking about, oh, let me go in here and slug it out with Goliath. He used his mind. We're going to see what moves forward. So we learned that right now, David is showing that you give yourself a better fighting chance when you go in as your most authentic self.
And the Philistine moved forward and came near to David with his shield bearer in front of him. And when the Philistine looked and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, ruddy and handsome in appearance. And the Philistine said to David, Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and to the beasts of the field. Then David said to the Philistine, You come to me with the sword, and with the spear, and with the javelin, but I come to you in the name of Yah, Yah of hosts, the Elohim of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day, Yah will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head.
Read that loud. Read that loud, babe. Say it again. Say it again. What he said.
This day, Yah will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head.
Talk that talk, David. Keep reading. Talk that talk, David. Talk that talk. Keep reading, baby. Talk that talk.
And I will give the dead bodies of the host of the Philistines this day to the birds of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a Elohim in Israel, and that all this assembly may know that Yah saves not with sword and spear, for the battle is.
You know, hear that? David talk that talk. David walked up to this problem and he said, Man, look, I'm going to cut your head off. Then all your homeboys, I'm going to leave their body here so the birds can eat them, and I'm going to defeat them, and everybody's going to see how powerful Israel is. David talked that talk. David had that affirmation. David said, You will not defeat me. I will defeat you. Simple. Talk that talk. What are you afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? David knew. I'm in here as my authentic self. I got this sling. Mind you, I want y'all to know this sling was not your Dennis the Menace, Bart Simpson sling. He ain't have one of these. The old style slings had a little leather pouch on it, and you swung it around like one of these. Got up all your energy, what is that, potential energy, and then you slung it. It had the power of if I was to go and I was to shoot a 45 caliber handgun. So David walks up to a man with a javelin and what else he had? Javelin, what else he had? With a weapon that was equivalent to a 45 caliber handgun. So going back to the original thing, you are bigger than your problem, no matter how big your problem seems to you. Was David really an underdog right now? Based off of his weapon, based off of him operating his authentic self. Goliath was 7 feet tall, 10 feet tall, wherever he wanted to go. But David knew exactly what he had to do. And David talked that talk. David showed up, and then David spoke into existence what it was that he wanted. He said, I'm going to cut your head off. Then all your homeboys over here, they're going to be dead. We're going to leave their bodies to the birds, and then we're going to show the power of our Elohim. Now, read that one part again where it says, he said it's going to show the power of what?
I don't know which part.
Hold on. We'll be sure that right. Go right over. We're just going to keep reading. Just keep reading.
When the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag and took out a stone and slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the ground. So David prevailed over the Philistine with the sling and with the stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. There was no sword in the hand of David. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword and drew it out of his sheath, and killed him and cut off his head with it. When the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
Boom. So y'all see that? David spoke into existence what he was that he wanted. He went and he did it. But the most important part about what David did, was he fought the battle in his authentic self. Now, we got, I don't know, y'all Floyd Mayweather fans or not. I don't know. Some people can't stand Floyd Mayweather. Some people like Floyd Mayweather. Some people are indifferent. Floyd Mayweather made a career of winning and making tons of money, not by going in there and trying to duke it out with all the fighters and take 1,000 punches. No, what Floyd Mayweather do? Go in, boom, I'm dipping, boom, 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 boom. He's not taking hits. Floyd Mayweather is not taking punches or not taking a lot. He also knows I don't have to throw a lot of punches. I'm not going to go in there and try to haymaker you to death. I'm just going there and get my point. Bing, 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 bing. Move over. Bing, 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 bing. Move over. Bing, 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 bing. I'm just going to go get my points. And then I'm going to win every single time. We get in trouble because we feel like we gotta go beneath the mud, fight through quicksand and dirty mud to come up to feel like we've accomplished something. No, you don't. Do what works for you. So did David go into the battle and fight blow for blow, swinging sword for sword with Goliath? Did he do that?
No, he had a plan. He had a technique that he wanted to use.
Exactly. He did not go in there swinging sword for sword because he knew if I go in there trying to fight head up this man with the uniform on and the sword, I'm gonna lose. David said, "I got something for you. You stay right there." Went back here. Now Goliath can swing his sword all day. They stood back here, got it going. He's down. Simple.
Hey, hold on. Add this in, Virgil. Hold on. The scriptures say when Goliath stood up and started walking to meet David, David took off and ran towards him. He didn't walk slow. He took off and ran towards him.
Boom. Simple. So he didn't go in there trying to fist fight with a sword. Boom, 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 boom. Bam. Got him. Did exactly what he knew to do. He stayed in his authentic self and he won the battle. So a lot of people like to say, oh, David was an underdog. He was a small child fighting against this mighty man. David wasn't the underdog. David was trained with his sling, and he fought against a man with a projectile weapon who only had a weapon that connected to his hands. David wasn't the underdog. Goliath was the underdog. David just defeated the bigger man. That is all. That's all David did. So when it comes to your problem, you have to realize your problem may look huge. Your problem may look big. Remember, right now you're going into your 10th grade year. You got your 10th grade year, your 11th grade year, your 12th grade year. You're trying to graduate high school with your standard high school diploma, correct? Now that may seem huge and daunting, but you have everything that you need. You are equipped with every single thing that you need in order to do that. You have the intelligence, you have the mental capability, you have the support system around you, you got brothers and sisters who are older who will be able to help you if you ask them for help, you got resources at the school, you got opportunities to be able to have incentives, or let's just say once you start playing sports, some college comes to offer you a scholarship, now you have an even bigger incentive to graduate high school. You have all of these great things to be able to help you, even though the task of graduating may seem monumental, it's really not as big as you think it is once you realize if I just operate in my authentic self, I'm a very intelligent young man. If I just do what I'm supposed to do, my work, if I just make sure I take care of my business, if I make sure that, hey, if I can do it, I do it. If I don't get help, you'll be able to overcome it. Simple. So the task may seem monumental, but it's really not. I'm sorry, it is, but you are even bigger than your task. You're even bigger than your adversity. We're all bigger than the adversity that comes up against us. We're stronger. We have the power to overcome it. We have the power to beat it. We have the power to have it succumb to us. And we cannot ever beat it if we allow it to dictate us. Did David allow Goliath to dictate the battle? No. David dictated the battle. You have to dictate the battle, not let the battle dictate you. So that's what I want to finish off at. As we know, David ended up winning. They defeated the Philistines. They killed up the Philistines. They went and raided their camps, and that then put David in the foresight of King Saul. King Saul now knew who David was. David made a name for himself by defeating Goliath. So real quick, I just want to do a quick reenactment. Ramirez, come here. Come here. Doing a quick reenactment.
Is he gonna be David? I think Romello should be David.
I was gonna have Romello be the shield bearer for David.
She said,
But Dave, well, you're gonna be the shield bearer. So this going matter of fact, yeah, you're gonna hand him. Matter of fact, you're gonna be Saul. You're gonna be King Saul. You ain't got no slingshot. Oh, boom. Here we go.
What does King Saul do in all?
He's giving David the armor, and David's like, no, I don't want it. So here go your slingshot. Here go your pebble. Huh. So you're gonna hand it to him. So we're gonna just reenact this last little piece. As a matter of fact, y'all go up there because they was at the top of the mountain, right, Steve?
Yeah.
All right, so y'all go up to the top of the mountain. Now,
all the way up, 'cause that's
yeah.
start right there.
Oh, there you go. Y'all can go up a little bit higher. All right, so now I'm gonna call y'all out. I'm gonna call you out. You're gonna talk some junk. You're gonna talk like King David was talking. Who was he? You're gonna be talking to King Saul. Saul, you're gonna be like, well, since you think you could defeat him, boom. I want you to try to walk down the steps, pretend like that's the sword, it's too heavy. The what you call this, too heavy. Then you're gonna take it off, and then you're gonna come down here, and then you're gonna hit me with the sling.
so I'm supposed to put this on.
And then take it off.
Take it off and I get down there.
Yeah.
Talk jump when I'm walking.
Yes.
They're up to you.
Yes.
And then beat you with a slingshot.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Wait, what am I supposed to say?
Hey, I don't know if that little Hebrew Israelite ready for this uncircumcised Philistine.
You say you don't think this Hebrew Israelite ready for this uncircumcised Philistine. That's what you're supposed to be saying. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be saying, huh? So, all right.
Ramirez supposed to be saying that?
Yes. You supposed to be.
You?
Yes. Remember when King David was like, who was this uncircumcised Philistine? He feel like he could step to a soldier of.
You gotta Ramirez talk hot.
Just talk jump. Just talk jump. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Cue, go. All right. Who is this that you all have that's gonna come fight me? The mighty man Goliath. Who's gonna come defeat me? The mighty man Goliath. As a matter of fact, he was my javelin right here. The mighty man Goliath with my mighty javelin. Me, I'm going
Me.
no.
Hold on, can we restart that?
All right, we're gonna restart it. All right. All right.
All right, hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah. King Saul, talk to David. Talk to your soldier. Tell him some of the stuff he's supposed to say.
I mean,
I bet.
Talk that talk. Let's go. It is I, Goliath, the mighty Philistine soldier. Who do you have, you puny Israelites, that are going to come and fight and defeat me?
Me, David.
What do you think you're going to do? You're but a child.
It don't matter if I'm a child.
When they come down here in the valley and meet me and let's fight this thing out there. Yeah, you put that up there. Put that on there. Yeah, so you put that on.
So it's supposed to be too heavy.
Yeah, all that's supposed to be too heavy. Look at him, he's weak and puny. He can't even carry his sword. He can't even wear his armor. Look at him, he's weak and puny. How dare you all bring me this weak child?
My turn. Nah, I beat you with this thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you shoot pretend a slingshot. Yeah, put that in there. Kind of project it with your hands. Come at me, child.
Hold on.
Yep, we good.
Hey, you got to chop his head off now. Chop his head off.
So get the sword.
With his sword.
Yeah. Run. You gotta run over. Yep, that's that. Woo!
Oh. She just puked on me.
Yes.
That's tough. Well, she's puked on me twice since I've sat here, so share.
All right, y'all. So, that's the lesson that we have. The lesson of David and Goliath, showing that David may seem like the underdog. It's like you may seem like the underdog in your life, but you were actually more equipped for your problems when you operate as your authentic self than your problems are for you. And your problems will never defeat you if you operate in who you are. So with that, I close out. Boom.
Hey, that's nice. Hey, he act like he ain't never been in a fight before.
You got to be savage, talk trash like you doing in school. Like, I'll beat all y'all up. I don't talk. I don't talk. Oh, you be raging. You be
We don't do the
crazy.
You thought I paid $600 for this Glock for nothing?
Hey, man, get out of here, man.
Yeah, so what y'all thought?
Demille, where you at? Unmute yourself, Demille.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we get you.
Hey, so Demille, have you been in training before? With you going to the armed forces?
And what now?
Were you in the armed forces, right?
I was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, so you had to do some type of technical training at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you knew how David was
What
then?
learn from the lesson?
Like you know some different techniques and stuff, right?
A little something.
What you got from
So how does that help you?
Nope.
Like in a battle, like I don't know if you ain't been in war or something, but does that give you more of a like a foundation on like how you can move it, like keep you a little bit more calm?
I know I'm gonna come out on the other side of that.
Something I want to point out is like you gotta know your
As far as
enemy.
training is concerned,
You know what I'm saying?
we all train to go to war. That's what we train for. So that's the energy and attitude that we all have. So I'm rocking with it. And Virgil, can you hear me? I don't know. He can hear.
Virgil, you got to unmute yourself now.
No. Yeah, we were just having a little discussion about what they learned from the lesson.
Oh, okay.
What you were saying? What you had a question?
Nah, I was just giving you feedback. He was asking me about how does he was asking about my combat experience and how do I relate with it and everything. And I was basically telling him the energy that David has, that's the energy that we was trained with.
Mm-hmm.
We train no matter how big the enemy is, like we about that life.
Yeah.
That's what we here for.
Yeah.
That's what we want. That's what we feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
So matter of fact, the bigger the enemy is, like that's more to eat.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah, see, on a real basic level, I mean,
hold on real quick, Steve. Hold on, babe, you were saying what now?
It says a point that I wanted to make is that when you're in battle with anybody or anything, you have to know your enemy. You know what I'm saying? You can't go into a battle blind and not analyze what or who your enemy is. What's the strengths? What's the weaknesses? What's the objective? You know what I'm saying? You analyze it from your enemy first. You can put a plan together to defeat your enemy. A lot of times we go into situations blind and we already have a defeated mentality. Oh man, this is so stressful. This is so big. Like, this is so inconvenient, whatever. And it's like, just pause for the cause. You know what I'm saying? Analyze your enemy, put a plan together so that you can defeat your enemy. Go into it with a clear mind of, all right, cool, this is what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to distract me, or you're trying to sidetrack me. You're trying to sabotage whatever it is I'm working on. Now that I've stopped to analyze what it is you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it, now I can go into it with a clear mind and be able to defeat you even easier. Like David, like started like, okay, this dude is big. I fought lions and bears before. I'm gonna treat you just the same way. So they took that. He had to analyze his enemy and know his enemy before he went into it. He didn't just go into it like without thinking about what he was doing first. You know.
Steve, you want to?
No, I just adding what she said. Like in my experience of playing football in college as a DB, I had to do film study. I had to see the receiver I was going against. You get to see how fast he is. You see the tendencies, like at a certain area, how he likes to move, what he likes to do. But then you are also equipped, to touch on what Demel is saying, you get equipped with different techniques on how to stop different things. So if he was a taller guy for me, and he was maybe about 6'4", that's like a giant to me. So it's like, okay, I got to be able to get my hands on him, but I know I have to get in position before he ever does. And if let's say it's a jump ball, well, I can jump, but at the same time, he's already taller than me. So if he is up there, he still got to come down. So I need to either time my jump, I need to jump before him and hurry up and get it, or I need to time it up. But when he's coming down, I can just knock it out. But having training so much, it makes me natural. It makes me less just, I'll say, reactive.
Yes. And also, you said something very important too, because sometimes we focus so much on the enemy, and yes, you, like Babe said, you got to be prepared. But sometimes, in order to know the enemy, you have to know yourself, because you have to know, okay, where's the enemy going to attack me at? So, Steve, in your analogy, you said, all right, if a DB, I'm a DB, if I go against a wide receiver that's 6'4", they're going to throw jump balls. My weakness is that I'm smaller than him. So because I know my weakness, I know exactly where the enemy's going to attack me at, and I know how to counter it. So some of your weaknesses, some of your deficiencies, you may not be able to compensate for. They're just there. Like, they're there. There's nothing you can do about it. However, you have to know how to combat them. So, Steve, like you said, okay, I may not be able to jump up there with you because you 6'4". However, I do know that when you jump up, you got to come down. So I know when you come down, I need to be punching up to punch the ball out. So, yes, you could go up 100 times to catch it over me, but you have to come down. If you don't come down quick enough, holding the ball tight with 2 hands, I'm going to knock it out every time. And it don't matter if you're able to exploit my weakness, because I'm able to then use my weakness as a strength against you. So I'm still able to defeat the enemy, even in my weakness. So I'm going to turn my weakness into a strength. So that's the important part, like knowing the enemy, and more importantly, knowing yourself and operating in that. Like, you ain't running around with stilts on. Like, that really, David fighting in that armor would have been equivalent to you going out on the football field with stilts on. Oh, I got to go against a wide receiver that's 6'5" this week. Let me put these stilts on to make me 6'7". Now you're running around tripping, still bright, all this crazy stuff. And no, I'm just gonna operate in my 5'9" self. When he go up and he come down, I'm gonna punch the ball out every time. Simple. Operate who you are, and you're still gonna be victorious.
Just to add on with that, the exact point I was gonna make. What we're dealing with combat here. So we'll look at, like, one of the best books on combat might be The Art of War, right?
Yep.
And that's one of the main principles is know yourself and know your enemy. And you look at one of the most popular wars that America had a problem with is what war?
Vietnam War.
Vietnam War. And then you can kind of see the whole David and Goliath aspect of the Vietnam War. What was Goliath's problem? He was overconfident.
Yep.
So he didn't know his own capabilities, and he didn't know his enemy. And that was America. America came into Vietnam like, oh man, we got this big bad military. We're gonna knock them out easy money, right?
Yep.
So America was supposed to bring a fight to Vietnam. But what did Viet Cong do? They brought the fight to America by making them fight their own fight. You're already in our territory. You're gonna fight the way we say to fight. We're gonna be chasing ghosts. You're gonna be fighting in the jungle. You don't know where we're at. We're gonna booby trap you.
Yeah.
because they studied that enemy, but they also knew that, look, we're a smaller guerrilla combat unit. We're not going to overwhelm them with planes and bombs. No, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do small arms tactical fighting, and that's how we're going to defeat them.
Yep, and that's exactly how that is. Exactly, and that was like that. That's how the Haitians won their revolt against the French.
Absolutely.
That's how the group down in Mexico won their revolt against the Spaniards. Like this how it happened. Like you knew yourself and you knew your enemies and you knew you had a weakness, but you know how to use your weakness to strength. So that's the most important thing right there. But
I think the main key that you said, yeah, man, you got to know who you are first. You can't beat nobody if you don't know who you are.
Exactly. And honest about who you are. Like, yeah, I have these challenges. Like some people like to hide from the fact that they got challenges. And so when they don't embrace their challenges, it makes it even easier to defeat them. Whereas like, nah, these are my challenges. All right, they're there. How can I utilize them for my betterment? Like me, one of my challenges, I wouldn't say is a strength and a challenge. It's I move fast. I move fast. So how can I use that instead of I move it? No, okay, boom, all right, cool. I got something to do. Like I put together this whole presentation with skit and everything in an hour and a half because I move fast. Like that's. And so instead of I move too fast, no, I use it to my strength. So you have to know your weaknesses and use them to your strengths to do what you need to do.
Yeah, man. Excellent job, man. It like I said, we're on the same page. I call out things and reminded me kind of like I think when I had a class we were talking about knowing your superpowers.
Yeah.
Knowing what you've been through. And so I mean we're all on the same page, and I think we just got to continue to know ourselves, know how we can improve. And then when you work as a team, when you work as a unit, and this going back to combat, when you know your personnel, this is one of the main things that we learn in training. We do what we call unit training. We don't train individually. We train together. When you train together, then we all know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And also when you train together, if I forget something or I need help with somebody, everybody done been through the same type of training.
Yeah.
So we can capitalize on each other's strengths. That's when you take a synergy and you're working together as a team.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You still practice on your individual skills, but then you have what we call unit training. Just like basketball practice or football practice. You still doing your push-ups and your lower legs.
Or your position drill. Yep.
Yeah, you are, but you still your team would never be successful. You guys don't practice together.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny you say that. That's why I'm glad I wasn't even thinking about that when I bought y'all on the call.
Put your face in the screen, bro.
I wasn't even thinking about that when I bought y'all in the call. I just was like, all right, let me have them on the ball. I'm gonna close down the prayer real quick. So my wife want to go back and lay down. The kids want to go back and lay down. So Ramirez is gonna close us out in prayer real quick, and then us three we can continue talking if y'all want to. I don't know if y'all. Demel, you like to put time frames on stuff. So
I'm about to go.
All right, y'all ready?
Yeah. Y'all, we thank you for the lesson we received today. Thank you that we can, or thank you for us being able to receive that so that we can use it to help us better ourselves and overcome stuff that we face on a day-to-day basis. And thank you that you would let us all be together to do this lesson. Hallelujah.
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 I appreciate y'all participation.